Hey there, listener. Welcome to the Deep Share Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Rouse, and for the last couple of decades, I've slowly been opening my eyes to a very different world than the one I grew up hearing about. And the more conversations I have with interesting people, the more mystifying this world becomes. So without further ado, let's get deep.
We've got science to celebrate! Demons bliss out! After what, baby? Come on!
There is rebellion in the wind. It will crush.
Everything I've said is true. It's real.
Dinosaur fossils? God put those here to test our faith.
A damn lie. I saw them with my own eye.
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?
We did illusions, man! None of it is true!
I'm not insane.
This is mass madness, you maniacs! In God's name, you people are the real thing! We are the illusion!
Welcome back to the Deep Share Podcast. I am here with my buddy Shane Newsome again. How's it going, Shane?
So fucking awesome, dude. It's so fucking great to be on the Deep Share Podcast like always, dude. Fuck yeah, let's get it.
Love having you here, man. You bring a smile to my face when we're recording. You give me more life when we're here, I feel like. So it's a good time.
That's what I'm talking about. Playing guitar and shit, dude.
Oh, look at that. Look, we already have a band in-house. This is great. This is great. You should also have a drum and like a snare to do like rim shots and stuff. Yeah. But the last episode we did called Before Sumer, which wasn't just about Sumer, but it was, jumping around to a bunch of things. We're going to do more episodes like that where just going to be talking research, different homework projects that I'm working on. And if we could bring some guests in, relevant guests, that's even better. And I've been talking to my Telegram group, the Box Saga English Telegram chat. And please join if you haven't. Come bring your questions, bring your challenges. Skeptics are more than welcome and encouraged to join. But I was talking in there for a while about getting some of those guys in here and talking to them and sharing some information that way. And lucky enough tonight, last minute, I asked our friend Dustin if he could join us, and he's here with us now. Dustin, what's up, man? Nice to have you.
What's going on? Thank you for having me. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm just a normie guy, and COVID really broke my brain and made me dive into a lot of interesting things.
That's so cool.
Ultimately, the Box Saga.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's really cool that like around COVID, so in 2019, 2020, that area is when like you started questioning a lot of stuff is what you're saying. And it's cool that you came to the saga that quickly because man, it took me 20 years.
Yeah, man, I'm only 26, but like I've been in this realm since I was like 16. So it's been 10 years for me. And it's just incredible to see how many people are coming to the side of things, which I think is just common fucking sense. No offense to anybody. I'm not trying to be an asshole.
You're talking just conspiracies in general?
Just in general. And not even necessarily like the crazy ones, but like the logical ones, dude. Like, and even some of them, are fucking bullshit. But like, we gotta have a good bullshit meter. There's the phases you have to go through. But yeah, dude, it's incredible. It's awesome. I like COVID was fucked, but I'm like kind of glad it happened.
I mean, it depends on how you look at it, right? Like you can't say that at Thanksgiving dinner to like a bunch of normal people that are like, what do you mean you're happy? Like, no, you gotta understand, considering it actually wasn't a real pandemic, in that case, you have to look on this other perspective of it. It's like the past couple of years, we've said it and we've heard it a million times that it's really accelerated this process for people, whether that's somewhat intentional from one group or not, I don't know. It feels that way a lot of the time, but regardless, it has accelerated it. So it's cool to see someone that, really, had their brain broken around the COVID time. And within 3 years, they're able to throw out most of the conspiracies that are peddled because most of them are kind of like, for us that take the Box Saga and look at it quite seriously, a lot of the conspiracies that are peddled, many that I believed, are cover, basically. Would you say that, Dustin? That like that's how do you look at it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I never really thought there was too many things deeper about uh, life as much. I was just like, let's just try to be happy and stoked. And I just go through life like that, and I try everything. And but once COVID happened, and yeah, to like take a look, like, wait a second, what is this that has been constructed around me? You know, and you always try to go from what we're talking about right now, and then they're like, what caused this? What caused this? You know, what caused this? But really, the box saga tells it from the beginning. So you don't. It's like boom, boom, boom. You know, it's a more natural way. Telling a story has a beginning and an end. So when we tell history, it should start from the beginning.
That's true. And we go backwards. How typical of our inverted society, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you know,
from...
just as he was saying, like there's a north and south. Like COVID was kind of good in many ways, and you know, the other side. Absolutely. There's always north and south. You know, positive, negative.
Absolutely, man.
Duality.
So Dustin, tell our audience a little bit about yourself. I'm always fascinated by you. Ever since I started to get to know you in the chat, dude, like you're blowing my mind left and right. The amount of words and connections you've made with the language and of course we have Michelle there in the Telegram to confirm a lot of it. It's great to see all the work and how excited you are about doing it. So please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this. Well, before COVID, obviously.
Yeah, well, you know, it's one of the reasons I wanted to join the channel in the first place was to find someone who can correct me, because I'm like, am I going crazy, or is this like all? I'm just trying to like, you know, I have a business, like whatever, you know, I have a busy life, a family, stuff like that. But like, I can't be blowing my mind constantly without someone like telling me I'm not crazy.
Right. Yeah, someone to check the lines for you. You know?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We all went through that.
But it's all in the sound system, you know, in the box saga. But well, anyway, I was raised Buddhist, and I grew up here in California. I'm still here. My dad's side of the family is original Texans, and my mom's side of the family's like Eastern European, you know. So
cool. Grew up Buddhist. That's pretty awesome. That's like you started off on the right track.
Yeah, you know, it was never said to be a religion. You know, they never. I never learned it to be a religion either. It was just more of like a philosophy.
Yeah, you know? Just a way to live.
Yeah, we all have infinite potential, and you just have to unlock it.
That's right. Yeah. And did you kind of so your upbringing in Buddhism, did that really influence your perspective on reality, or did you kind of come to that later on with expanding your consciousness? Or how'd you come to be such an insightful human being? Was it just Buddhism, or what else happened?
Honestly, I don't know. I went to college. I changed my major 5 times.
That's good.
You know, and ended up just being fired from every job I ever had, because I always thought I can do it better.
Cool.
and I tried to, and they didn't like that. So
of course, that's why you run your own business, right?
Yeah, so I had no other choice but to go.
Right, dude.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I was pretty mainstream, and but I did have like some kind of crazy thoughts about. I always had this crazy string theory of the universe.
Nice.
That I never heard before, but other than that, everything was pretty mainstream. I was just kind of.
Can we hear that?
I paid no attention to what was going on in politics or anything outside of, you know, the area, my circle, and things like that, you know, and
yeah, the classic bubble, right? You know, your own interests, your own people.
So like, But did you like? Was it your string theory pretty much just like string theory, and like you hadn't heard about string theory yet, or is it like this your own idea?
So it might actually work with my new understanding of things, but it was that, you know how they say it came from an infinitely small area, right? And it exploded, the Big Bang, right? I always had a theory that all the there's a game going on. I don't know if you can hear that.
No worries.
That all the atoms were connected by a string. You can imagine it as a string, and then eventually they all start coming back and getting pulled back, and they snap together, and the universe just repeats that process.
Dude, that's like exactly kind of what my interpretation of it always was. Now, how, I mean, is that,
But they say it's accelerating at an expanding rate, which would negate that.
interest? Oh, right. Yeah. Well, I think that's always been my battle too, because I've felt like, well, it seems like the universe would be breathing in and out, and it's almost like I refuse to believe
Yeah.
anything else.
I
Yeah, it's a
like
belief, but
I like the
Yeah,
old
but- and then-
Futurama episode, dude. That was great. And the reverse time machine.
oh shit.
Or
What, they
no,
go
it was
back to
only
the-
no, it was an only forwards time machine. That's what it was. They could
Okay.
only go forwards. So they like I don't know, they ended up fighting and they hit the lever for like way too long, like way too far, and like they ended up just like and like everything was desolate in the universe still. So they're like, all right, well, let's fucking flip this switch and watch the universe end. And you know, everything faded out to nothing, and then all of a sudden the fuck Big Bang happened again. It was the same exact universe, except for it was like 14 feet lower or some shit.
Yeah.
So
I
so
think I
to
do
get rid of
remember
like
that.
the time paradox thing, because apparently like one of you will die immediately because like if you see yourself or some shit in Futurama. So they took care of that because they're 14 feet higher, so the time machine just fell and crushed them before they got into it in the same time that they were first getting into it. Yeah.
That does kind of seem accurate, man. It
Yeah.
does feel like it would go that way, you know?
And though they fucked it up and they're like, oh, we got to bring it around again. So like, I guess that's why it was 14 feet. It was like 7 feet each time.
So that seems like it's
I
like
love
little
Futurama. I'm sorry.
reality clues. No, I think it's perfect. Those little clues are dropped in by all kinds of esoteric writers and probably bad people too.
Yeah, you know.
They always talk about how The Simpsons was always predicts the future, but Futurama is made by the same people, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And no one really pays attention to a lot of
That's
this stuff.
literally what they literally made the future Arama.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude. Yeah. Time, timelessness, consciousness.
Yeah, but you know,
stuff like
whenever people talk about the universe, they're always talking about the observable universe, which is like such a small
10%.
piece. Yeah, you know, it's like
Yes.
or infinitely you know, like it's a infinite whatever.
Yeah, we have our silly terms like dark matter and dark energy, which are just placeholders because they don't know what they're dealing with. But I think it's ether, probably. Isn't that your view as well? That the dark energy and dark matter may be ether?
I
Aether?
really like the box saga explanation of what everything is.
Absolutely.
And it really,
yeah.
it really resonates, dude. And like there's no other yellow star or golden star out there. So they must all be reflecting our sun. I don't know. It just makes a lot of sense to me. And if it's always been there, and the stars are just little, you know,
Luminaries.
a star would be just like gas, ice, and metal, which is all reflective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would make sense.
Just
I
like up in the sky. But why
Yeah.
are they in
Yeah.
the same spot
What you mean?
all the time? Like if it's gas, it would be like fucking floating around. And
No,
be-
like Jupiter being a gas planet,
okay.
you know, something like that.
Okay. So
Like
you still think
Jupiter is also a star.
you're not a flat earther.
I think there's a
I think
way.
it's unimportant, and either way, the North Pole is the center of both of them.
Yeah.
the flat
absolutely.
Earth or round Earth model.
Yeah.
And
I
I
had
think that's not more important to understand is like the unseen sides of like electromagnetic fields and geomagnetic fields and cosmic magnetic like there's multiple different types of these things, and it's a field, right? It's a space, but it's whatever,
no,
like
no,
there's
yeah.
so much
So
more
I was
going on
just
there.
curious to what you think planets are, because I have no clue at this point to even what to think. Like, it's probably not that important, but are they like actually fucking out there, or are they just magical lights in the fucking sky? Like,
Personally, I feel like just as this, so I look when we can
is the
find
moon a rock or is it a giant plasma ball, dude?
when we can find their lies and how their lies are orchestrated, you can kind of use it as a Mandelbrot set and kind of apply that same methodology to other topics and see if there's the same types of lies there. And it's like, I mean, it's just kind of conjecture, but to me, I bet the like academic mainstream definition of things like planet and things like that are probably pretty close. It's not necessarily in the words, it's always in the meanings, you know? And that's what I'm learning so much from the Box Saga's initial push, that these words that we've used for so long, the words are still there and they're the same, but it's the meanings that have been altered. And so it's like it could, planets could be exactly what they are described as on NASA's website, but because of the context, they can still get away with it, like deceiving, does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I look at I look through I have a telescope, a really cheap one, and I look at the moon, and I'm like, those are craters, right, on this side of the moon, and this side of the moon has always been facing Earth. So how did the craters get to this side of the moon?
Oh, that's creepy.
Unless they would have had to gone through Earth to hit that side of the moon.
Dude, yeah, they always pretend like it's our big shield, but what if it's like the wall behind us?
Yeah, but what's crazy is the Box Saga says the moon came first. It was before the Earth.
Oh, see, this is these are the details that I don't have in my head to just freely flow with.
Yeah.
So if you could talk
Okay.
a little bit, if we could talk a little bit about that stuff,
Yeah, dude,
that'd be really good for my audience, because I'm
Yeah.
just
I
trying.
wanna
I
hear
just
that.
feel like this is the one subject where I don't care how many times certain aspects of it are repeated on different videos, whether it's my channel or other channels,
Good
because
point.
it's like the least popular topic in conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
At
and
least
that's a
over
good
here in the
point.
Western world.
Yeah, and also, talking about it is almost a little in many of like the shows that Jim Chesner did when he was going on a lot of different podcasts. That was really
Oh, yeah.
cool to be able to like go back. I discovered Box Saga after he already died.
Yeah,
like
me too, sadly. 2 months
and
afterwards.
yeah, and I like really resonated with with how he spoke and everything, but he would just go ahead and recite recite the saga kind of thing
Right.
as a way of
Yeah.
answering the question. So it's almost hard to really word it correctly to get a really good understanding of it without like kind of reciting it.
I
And
agree.
and if you never practice, you have no one to practice with. It's like, how do you do it? And so
It's
I
a process
completely
for sure.
agree. It's important people do hear it, and understand, you know, makes things what's going on today, how it came to happen, gives you a much better understanding of what's going on, so you can protect yourself in your own life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, real quick, because you brought that up, let me ask you your perspective on this. What you just said about the saga sounds like what many, many people say about many other conspiracies, that it gives us a better perspective on everything, and my eyes are open now. And I'm not saying I'm playing devil's advocate here to the masses of conspiracy theorists that think that they do have that feeling, because of a lot of this psyop bullshit that they've been sold, like the idea of ancient aliens, how the disclosure process now is slowly pushing that angle into their official government narrative, how it's starting to be, first it was Bob Lazar, just one sentence on Joe Rogan years ago. I think it was what, 2017 or 16 maybe? He said one of them may have been from an archaeological dig. That was the one sentence. Since then, it has increased in volume and speed in the official narrative. And people laughed at Ancient Aliens for a long time, but now it's like,
now we're really laughing. Sorry.
now I'm really laughing. Yeah, we are. Yeah. But this has become, maybe I'm the crazy one yelling the end is nigh on the sidewalk, but I feel this is a big problem, that this is going to contend. I mean, they're creating their space opera. I can't remember where I was going with this. I apologize.
I don't know, but all I know is
soapbox.
All the government, releases of new information seem to tie directly in with, H. Biden there, news releases. So, the whole thing is like hilarious. But
well,
the current UFO stuff.
I can't remember why I brought that up. Shane, why the hell did I bring that up?
You're saying
let me tell you. Oh, sorry. Let me tell you about the Box Saga. What they say, how the kind of where the stars came from, and
yeah, please do.
Yeah. So it all begins with the sun. So the sun is Udin, right? And there's a poem. Udin is a ring, and Udin is everything. Yes, and Udin is the sun, and it's always Udin has always
blew
been,
my mind right there,
and always will be.
Yeah, Udin has always been and will always be. So Udin is everything, right?
That's my understanding of existence.
And one of the things I love that Jim Chesner said once was, I can prove it to you that the sun makes all of the life actively to this day, every day, all the time. I have on one of my algorithm feeds, news feeds, it shows me new species discovered.
Oh, interesting.
My feed is full of them. New species discovered, new species. You look it up, almost every country discovers 100 new species a year.
Whoa.
Are these, and now in every case, are they species that have just been around forever and we just haven't seen them?
Like it's
how can you know? They've never been discovered.
Making
DNA,
new shit. I don't know.
It's all genes. Like something came from something.
Right. Always.
Everything came from something. Right. Yeah. Like when it comes to life. Right. And what he said is you could take a glass of water, leave it out in the sun, come back in the afternoon, there'll be some green stuff in there. That's algae. That's all the ground and trees.
Nice. Breaking it down by letter back to the root language. G for ground.
Mm-hmm. And E for ek. Yeah.
Whoa.
So cool. And ek.
And so and then Udin, the sun, is been shining always. He always will, and he always has. Right. And I think in that little poem, it's kind of denying that time exists.
Interesting.
Right? Personally. Okay. I'm putting my own thing, but that the stars, the definition of a star is a object made of matter, of different metal, ice, and gas. And that's it. And they're just out all over space. They could be hundreds of billions of miles away, doesn't matter, because Udin's always been, so his light reaches there.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Dude, this is cool. I like that perspective.
The stars are just reflecting Udin as well. And so this is also how they have come to understand the astrology, the astrology, the true logic of the Asur is that's Udin encoding the understanding of him in the skies.
Holy shit. Yeah, so I like the word
because you can't stare straight at him, you'll burn your face off, right?
Right.
You can't
Yeah.
stare straight at it. I don't know why I'm calling them him. It's
It's
everything.
all right. Yeah.
But it's not a him though. It's kind of, that's also important.
It is
right?
important. Yeah. It's
That's
not
like
some.
one of
It's not some.
part of the third Ragnarok there.
Right. It's not some male god.
Yeah, and this is the only planet. There are no other planets. The Greeks used
Because
to
of the
call
definition of planet, because of the root language. You know,
X
when you
is one.
right, and plan is plan. So one plan. It's not necessarily like the definition of. I mean, how could we do it? Could we look up planet and see the very root of it and find where the silliness came in and suddenly it meant big rock in space? Or like, what does planet mean to an academic? Do you know? You can look it up,
I
of
think
course.
it's just something orbiting a star.
But I'm talking like what would an etymologist who's gone to
In a certain
college,
size.
I wonder what the planet etymology.
I know.
It's definitely not going to say one plan or anything.
Yeah,
but we know it to be.
Flat earthers think it's plain, but don't address the T.
Oh, that's probably Jesus, the cross. There you go. Because whether they like it or not, they're
Got it.
they're yeah.
That's the
I'm not
origin
gonna
of
go
the
down
letter
that
T.
right? Okay, so planet, late Old English, planet, and old astronomy, star other than a fixed star. Yeah, no shit. I need etymology, man. Come on, that's.
But even the Greeks called the other planets stars. They called them moving stars.
And our explanation for that is, well, they couldn't see far enough to tell the difference or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pele, pi root. So, okay, we're talking Proto-Indo-European here. A nasalized form of the pi root Pele. Of course. Oh, they'll love this too. Oh my God, both my guests disappeared. I made my guess
I'm here.
I'm right here.
and then they came right back at the same time. Holy crap. They're reflecting one another.
I was just putting my guitar down.
Check
You
this out. This
reminded
makes it.
the word star. I decoded it in Hebrew.
Oh, perfect.
Oh,
well, real
word.
quick, this is going to make things even worse. I don't even want to say this out loud, but so planet, perhaps it is from a nasalized form of the Proto-Indo-European root pele, meaning flat or to spread. Spread out. But the semantics are highly problematic, according to Beeks, who notes the similarity of meaning to Greek plasian, to make devious, repel, dissuade from the right path, bewilder, but adds, it is hard to think of a formal connection there. Also, fixed is another possibility.
Yeah,
Man, that's not good enough
second
for
one
me
you
at
said
all.
didn't really even sound like plain.
Yeah, so okay, here we go. I'm sorry, guys. This is much better here. All right. So all the way from planet, all the way back to ancient Greek, early Greek, it's a verb. Everything goes back to a verb. Everything is under the form of to be. It's always a verb when you go back to the root. Like just like Dirkesai, dragon is a flying creature, but Dirkesai, where it comes from, is to see clearly. It's always a verb. So we go back all the way. It's planistai, to wander. And we have plan. And so check this out. Let me keep rolling here because then we're talking plan at one plan and one plan of the one family, right? And we know that they are the ones that lost their home and have ever since been wandering.
That makes sense. That's that's for the word star or
That's
planet.
Planet means to wander originally from planistai, which sounds like Dirkestai.
I need to do the word planet. But that's a similar definition of the word star in Hebrew.
Really?
Yeah, it's numbers. So Hebrew is not an actual language. It's math.
Right, it's coding.
Yeah, and its number is 20612.
Okay.
And that is a related number to the diagonal of an Earth cube. So if you were to take, never mind. I don't think I can explain it correctly.
Oh, you got me
Right
on
here.
the edge of my seat.
Oh,
Robert.
okay.
man,
Can I
yeah,
try?
dude.
Can I try?
Try, dude.
Absolutely.
Try,
This is-
dude.
The Deep
Okay.
Share podcast is a place for trying.
Okay.
By all means.
Man, so I kind of have
Minecraft
to start
Earth.
from. Well, the thing is, I kind of have to start at the beginning.
Do it, man.
Yeah.
We have
So-
time. Let's go for it.
Okay, so I was looking into radium and the element. Like, kept hearing this interesting things about radium. One that it's the most scarce resource or scarce metal on the planet. However, it is in all of it is in the water that sources all of the warm water currents of our oceans. It is the Gulf Stream current is caused. There's like 5 times the allowable limit in one of the rivers in the Gulf of Mexico. If you look it up, it's actually in all of our fruits. It grows naturally into our food and things like that. And so I was like looking into this element. It produces infinite. Okay. Imagine the number of calories. A calorie as the unit of energy, right? I think you said earlier you're trying to eat 3,000 calories. You know,
You heard me.
Okay. All 8 billion people eating 3,000 calories a day for one entire year does not produce as much energy as 1 single gram of radium.
Whoa.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
That's like a less than a bottle cap.
God damn.
How do I get a hold of radium, bro? I'm trying
So,
to walk up.
So the way to get radium is you can process 1 metric ton of uranium
There we go.
to get
All right, we'll just order some of that.
gram of radium. And my
Oh, shit.
conspiracy theory is because once I heard nukes weren't real, and then all the videos were faked, and you know, like Joe Rogan famously had that one guy, and they're going over the video and like of
It's like a
nuclear
toy.
explosion, and then like a car just shows up out of nowhere. Yeah. You know, like things just don't add up. The smoke's too big. You know.
Yeah, dude,
Oh,
yeah.
Things like that, and I think they actually want uranium to get radium.
Oh,
Dude, I
these
like it.
cunts. It's not fucking what's the pineal gland shit?
TNT.
Adrenochrome, dude.
Oh,
Okay.
adrenochrome.
It's not
So-
adrenochrome, it's radium. It's probably
So-
adrenochrome too. It's probably adrenochrome too.
Okay, I'm connecting this to Hebrew. Okay.
Okay, let's do
Okay,
it.
so this
Yeah.
is fucking real, dude.
Okay, so I found this book. I was searching in the Library of Congress, and I was just searching for the oldest times they mentioned, like the first time they mentioned radio. So I was just searching by date, you know, and like earliest time. So they say that radium was discovered in 1898 by Madame Curie, which sounds a lot like mercury.
Yeah, man.
Okay, and they were mentioning it earlier than its discovery date, so it had already been known. Okay, so I found this book written by some Canadian lady, and she mentions radium 130 times in her book.
Whoa.
So I was like, I'm gonna get into this, and it's called Spiritism and Einstein's Theory of Relativity.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this book title's off the hook right now.
Yeah.
and
seriously.
and it was and so she goes into you can find it on the Library of Congress if you're looking it up.
Mhm.
Um,
I'm
and
after
and she was talking about Hebrew words and how like their word for this word called unity with God is 9 to the 4th. So every letter in the Hebrew alphabet also has a number that it's correlated with.
Mhm.
And so like the first letter, Aleph, is 1, you know, and then it would be like the first 9 letters. They have 27 letters, right? So the first 9 are 1 through 9, and then the next 8 are 10 through 10 through 90. And then it's 100 through 1000. So you could, and anyway, so all of their words are actual specific number combination, specific numbers. Like their number for unity with God is 6561, which is 3 squared and then 9 to the 4th, which is a ratio of a measurement of measuring 4th dimensional space and time.
Okay.
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 Just like pi is for measuring a circle, right? All circles, pi, right?
Yes.
All 4th dimensionals, 9 to the 4th. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. And then their word for star. Okay. So she was explaining how there's this measurement, and I looked it up, and it's something called electron solid expansion max. And it's something that if you're measuring the size of something with its given properties, it's a measurement of how big it can actually get given the number of electrons in all possible metals, or what all possible elements in that given space. Okay, it's something like that. And then there's a number for that for Earth, and it's 237, and plus 1 is 238, and using that you get this specific number. It's basically you get a shape of a sphere or a circle in a square. So you imagine like a circle perfectly in a square. It's measuring the square.
Okay.
Of Earth's circle, right? And it's diagonal. So you imagine like in a cube, the circle or the circle isn't touching the corners of a square, right? And so you have the middle of the circle touching the corner of the square, right? And that number in length divided by 2 is their number for star.
Whoa.
Okay. And you take their number for star and you divide it by the number for 4th dimensional time, which is unity with God. And you end up with 31415, which is their word for God.
What?
Elohim.
Oh, no shit.
So
that is wild.
They were just with their words alone. And okay, and this is how radium brought me to this, is because they did not understand. There's Jews or people who know this stuff still to this day, these calculations and stuff like that. But it wasn't, and they knew it in the 1800s and earlier. It wasn't like some occult anything. It was kind of probably more generally known, sort of, by, the priest class, I guess. But they didn't understand their word for man until they discovered radium.
Whoa.
And their word for man is that ratio, radium divided, the atomic weight of radium divided by 2.
What is it with radium? I don't know anything about radium.
Okay. Radium is...
Other than it's really powerful.
Source of life.
Right.
Everything is named after it. Ra, diem. Okay. So Ra, you got the Ra there. The sun god, or Ra represents the moon in Bach Saga.
Right. The moon, the firstborn sun is the Ra.
Yes. And that would still be more accurate because radium produces infinite light, heat, energy, and cosmic rays. Light, heat, it glows and never turns off, and it has no known half-life.
No shit, really?
And it gives off radiation.
Right.
So that's radium, radiation.
Right, absolutely.
Right. It's not uraniation. Yeah, we call it radiation, not uraniumation or uranation.
Right.
Urination.
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 And we can like basically connect it to radius, which is
Yeah.
geometry, back to math once again,
Yeah. Radium,
Hmm.
radius.
Which is this part of a circle?
Yeah, it's all from Ra. I mean, that's the important part, how it starts.
Dude.
But yeah, that's crazy, man. And
How
so you
does
said
but how does
237,
Ra relate to Udin?
because Ra is the firstborn son in Bach Saga. That's the title. So
And it
Oh,
does mean
and that
king.
becomes, what's that? It
It
does
does
mean
mean
king,
king
yes.
and
Right.
queen.
And
It means both.
queen. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. But what's
Yeah.
also perfect is that, there's a story in the saga, I believe, about Ra, one of these Ras, one of these firstborn sons wanting to like be his own, like start his own thing. And this was later. This was way after Ice Time.
so
And
this is supposed
that's
to be Satan.
supposedly is the story of the first sun god of.
I think he just took the title, but I don't think he was a Ra.
Okay, yeah, I
Of
think you're right.
the
I think you're right.
Aser.
That makes more sense because he was in a way like jealous or envious of the Aser family, probably, or their
Yeah.
importance in the line or something like that. But yeah, wanted
Yeah,
to
they
start his own system in Egypt. And that's the story from Bach Saga about this first sun, S-U-N, quote unquote, god, Ra. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's
But you
usually
guys,
one of the kids that are when they make more than like after 12 boys, they don't have titles for them.
right. There's
They
no
don't
more
even know what to
titles.
name them. So maybe it's like some of these kids, like, well, fuck you then. I'm going to Egypt.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out of
Yeah,
here and
hell
start
yeah.
my own
me?
system.
You gyp me, I'm going to make Egypt. How about that?
Hell yeah.
So you said 237 and it sparked something in my brain. I was
What?
like, is that the room number in The Shining? And it absolutely is.
Oh my god,
I wish
dude.
my friend David Charles Plate was here. Shout out to David. He's on Sync Tank on Tuesdays on Andreas's channel. But
Shout out Andreas Zertis.
David breaks down Kubrick so well, and other people do too. There's some people I've met through that same group that are all into Kubrology, basically. It's unreal. But 237 and The Shining, that's an interesting. I'll have to bring this up to him.
It's
really
+1 with light. Light provides the 238th electron.
Oh, that's crazy.
And that is calculated in the electron solid expansion max.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I've never heard
And
that
that's
before.
the number. Yeah, it's all poles and holes. Let's go.
Poles and holes, man.
Holes and holes.
Boats and hose. Excuse me. So, I also wanted to someone in the Telegram. I think it might have been Michael or Michelle. I can't remember who posted it, but someone posted the 2022 report from the Lemminkainen Temple PDF, and I wanted to share that because this is something that I never had the chance to see when I heard the news. This news article came out last year that a discovery had been made in the Lemminkainen Temple, and I think I did briefly mention it on a show. I know I posted about it, but that was about it. But now getting to like see up close pictures and see just like the first words written about it, it was pretty cool. An axe head was found in 2022, deep in the temple.
Wait, in 2022?
Yes. And so this is why I wanted to do this, because I barely mentioned it when it happened. I know I posted like a link to the article. Not a lot of people probably clicked on it from my audience because it was in Finnish, it was written in Finnish.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to look at the pictures. It was fascinating to see what it was saying. But yeah, so we have a PDF of it too, which is cool.
I believe that's the second one.
Is that the second one?
And didn't they find one early on? I thought they did.
They might have. You could be onto something. This one's from 2022, but we'll I'm gonna share it screen wise. Those listening get on YouTube or Odyssey or Rumble and come watch it there. Come see our pretty faces. All right, you guys see that?
Whoa.
So that's just the top. We got a lot to go through here. But yeah, this is the axe head that was found deep within the supposed natural formation of rock. So if it was
Inside the rock.
Right. So if it was a natural formation, which is what the Finnish Institute of Archaeology has stated and put, the kibosh on the whole thing and said it's over, it's done years and years ago. If that was the case, what kind of natural rock formations just have 12th, 11th century axe heads embedded in it, made of iron and
Not
stuff
gonna
like
lie, that looking thing looks pretty big. How
Yeah,
It
big?
looks like a half of a pickaxe.
Looks like, at first when I saw the picture, I was like, that looks like a bowl.
That looks solid.
It looks like a little
That-
spoon pipe, So,
both.
okay. So the find has come to light in the excavation of the Lemminkainen temple related to the legacy of the Bach family saga. Description: axe blade, rusty iron, 713 grams, location Sipoo, Finland. Discovery method: excavation work along with emptying the cave's internal water. And I think I saw someone try to shrug this off as, oh, the water must have brought it in at some point, and this article totally destroys that. Discovery findings: relatively clean at the time of discovery, but some soil was cleaned off the top. I mean, when they say clean, let's just go back up and look at it.
Yeah.
This is clean. All that sediment, they're considering just part of it now, All right. Well, there's the
Still here, I'm
temple.
just rearranging.
Dude, I want to be there like in the snow in wintertime.
Okay.
So cool. But yeah, this is all the water that they have to deal with before digging every season.
Every year. Yeah,
They
or
have
every
to
season.
they have to pump out a ton of water. Well, not just a ton, multiple tons of water to get to this, which all of this straightaway that you see here
Wow, all filled with
was
water.
all filled well, maybe not all the way up to the top here, but what I was going to say was it was all filled in with boulders at one point.
Oh wow.
Boulders and specific types of rock and shape boulders that Eeyore described that they would find before he died. So he must just be a psychic,
Dude.
Again, natural rock formation, but just filled with tons of boulders, as if literally stockpiled to cover something up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a clear roof too.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, the bedrock. It's absolutely. Yeah.
They've done scans.
Well, have they done scans here? I mean, I figured they would. I never heard about
They
the
did it on
results of
top.
the temple.
They did it
Some
above.
LiDAR.
They did it from above that point to where it was headed. So they did it.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if there's a good picture of like kind of the whole thing back, like kind of at the driveway part of it.
Yeah, we got a little. Well, this
Yeah,
is
right
the
there.
best we got here.
Yeah, they did it. They did it. See where that tree is on the bottom picture?
Yes, right here.
Yeah,
They
that
followed
tree.
the
They
roots?
did it like they followed it around because it's supposed to be spiral. It's supposed to be a spiral, like a labyrinth,
Right. It's literally
like
supposed to
like a
spiral into
honeycomb
the
or
earth.
something.
Because wasn't
Yeah.
it supposed to mimic and be like a kind of an homage to the holy, which is a vortex through the
Yes.
top of the earth? So it's supposed to
But
be
this
like a
one's
monument to
constructed.
that.
Whoa.
Yes,
What's
but the pole hole
Yeah.
is created by the earth,
Right.
but this one is created by the Osser men.
Right. They were.
And
That's
a
what I'm
woman-
saying. It was a
A woman
monument.
has never been inside that temple ever in history.
Right, because it's not because they had their own temples that men were not allowed in as well. It was
Yes.
all equal before anybody thinks otherwise. But I was gonna say, like, yeah, that's why it was a monument to the original pole vortex. Because when you think of yeah, exactly. But so we see that everywhere, especially from all these
That one looks like one.
Proto-Germanic tribes and everything, they were building pyramids all over fucking Europe, Ireland, Scotland. They're everywhere. America's filled with them. Everywhere in the Western world is filled with pyramids, and those, of course, are a representation of the mountain. You know, the Holy Mount, not the story of the Bible, but you know, much more ancient. Probably Hyperborea and the Magnetic Mountain, which
Saga,
is probably the
that's
same
where
damn story.
Yeah, probably everything's connected. But you know, I always say like, hey, we can be in like the same room, kind of doing similar things, but have a completely different story to tell of what happened. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
About
I
a
think
lot
at
of
one
things.
point, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You know, and so different cultures will have changed things, but if it's the same origin, that I mean, you know, the saga is stories constructed in their words, like their actual language. Like even if you say shut up about the saga, then you just have to just stop speaking words that came from it. You wouldn't even be able to speak.
And they call it a living language too, the root language, I believe.
No, English.
Oh, English. Okay.
English is
English is the living language.
Yeah.
Of, well, we're here to tear it apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, agriculture. Yeah. All right, so let's continue on here.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, you got some pretty decent. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Dustin, keep going. If you were, if I cut you off.
I was just gonna say that rock is where, you know, the big story in the saga too. That rock.
The Etastupa.
Yeah, and that rock is actually 3 of them on top of one another of different types of stone.
Yes.
Oh wow, you can see that.
They aren't even the same stone.
Yeah, different types of stone, and they were supposedly moved here by people or put there. This was all constructed. This, like, they claim even the outside here. It wasn't like a bunch of people found this and were like, sweet, let's go in there and make it our, you know, sanctuary. No, this was supposedly constructed at one time. Of course, we're talking hypothetically millions of years. So I don't know. I mean,
if what's under there is under there, if what's said to be under there,
dude.
I mean, dude.
Well, so here's my question. And maybe I'm just being too real here, too realist, but if they open that temple and it is there, first of all, somebody else knows that probably
we're all
does.
Dead.
Well, that's one theory I have. One theory I have is that someone knows what's in there and doesn't want it open. That's, you know, one idea. And the ones that don't want it open would most likely be the ones that could fucking kill or stop anyone from getting in there. But yet that's not happened. And I don't necessarily foresee anything like that happening. But
well, there has been interference.
There has been interference, but I wonder if that's only to delay the process because the world was not yet ready. They did a pretty damn good
job too. I mean, the saga's been out 40 years, and it's like, maybe
they're doing a real good job.
Active right now about it.
About 1 million.
A million,
which is pretty good, but it means nothing when you really think about it, you know.
Yeah.
But so. What I was going to say was
ready
like,
for it to be open.
That's what I'm saying. No one's ready for it because we're way too like I can't wrap my head around some of it, and I, you know, even comfortably from a Western world dude's perspective, you know. But the thing is like
I'm not patient enough.
People tend to freak out, which is so it's weird because if we're talking about Aboriginal cultures or Amazonian native cultures or anyone, and we're talking about weird fertility rites that they did thousands of years ago, and sometimes in which cases they still do today in parts of the world, and they talk about it on National Geographic and shit, and everyone's like, oh, interesting, educational. But as soon as a bunch of white European dudes apparently were doing it, everyone's like, this is disgusting, it must be fake.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that taboo when like our society, as far as like sexual norms and things, is so freaking distorted and messed up and broken, and you know, like it's like.
But can you imagine the displacement after ice time, being separated and forgotten about, and then you show up with your old ways, and people are like, oh, "Did you see what they were doing?"
Yeah, but we can't go back.
We can't go back. So that's the
We're all
point.
Earls now. We're all Carls.
We're all
There are
Carls
no
now.
more. Yeah.
What
That's
does
the
that
thing
mean?
that's one
Means
of
we're
the
third
cast.
class citizens.
Yeah, it's part of the original caste system. That's all we are now. But so the point of not going back is important to make, because I think a lot of people are completely adverse to the very old school heathen ways of the Bach saga. And of course, that's typical and understandable in the Western world and the modern world. I think the point to be made is that no one's saying we're trying to go back there or trying to go backwards necessarily. It's just at some point we have to acknowledge if this was real, and if it was, then shit, this is where we came from, and this is
I
what
don't
we
care.
were
It's the
doing.
best story ever told.
Oh yeah, and that's
right,
I never even focus on the offering system really, because to me it's not the most interesting part, even though a lot of it's technically based on all of it. It's still all the parts to the history that we do have is what fascinates me, and how people, even a lot of our friends in the Telegram will suggest that there really is zero connection to any of the history we're told, and I firmly disagree.
That rock right there that we keep pointing at is the rock that the grandmothers, when
this one, yeah,
they could no longer stand with the help of a cane. She would go up to there and they would announce to everybody that your uka is, she can no longer stand. So everyone comes and says their goodbyes and things like that. And she says what she wants to say to everybody, one-on-one, individually, and then addresses everybody, but she has nothing else to say. And she falls backwards off the top of that rock. And she dies on the bottom there, and they take her body and they burn her and put her under the family tree, right? But it's like that's kind of beautiful, right? Instead of withering away of old age, can no longer function or anything like that, you get to say your goodbyes to everybody, things like that. There's actually a beautiful story about that, and that's a lot of what's missing in today's,
yeah, well, our taboos get in the way, and our fear of death is paramount in everything. I say it all the time, man. I say it to Shane all the time, that when it comes to the really important quote unquote conspiracies or deep hidden parts of history, most people will not be able to go there because of their fear of death. And it doesn't seem to be a connection there, but the connection is that real history undoes all of their mythologies about what happens afterwards.
Yep.
It's a poignant thing.
Word to the grandmother.
And most conspiracy theory, I'm after the truth, will not go there, because they have to stop. They have to get off the bus at heaven and all these stories that they've been told since they were children. And that's unfortunate. And I think that's one of the biggest roadblocks with the saga, because shit, once I found out about the saga, it tore aliens apart for me and ancient aliens. And that's what led me down that road. So it's like, either you're willing to accept that these words are much older than the concepts you've been fed, or you're never getting out of the matrix. You're just not. Language is the key, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know. I feel like the saga does a pretty decent job if it's approached in the right way. I think a lot of the problem is it's heard for the first time, full of opinion, that kind of thing. Maybe it's here on this one, like maybe it's like right now, but everyone should do some due diligence before speaking of it at all, and try to listen and absorb as much of the story as you can. And there's got to be an aha moment for everybody. But, like there's so much conspiracy theory out there that it's okay. Like you can calm down and just chill, listen to a story, make it this one, everyone needs to chill up a little bit,
Yeah, man.
I think my aha moment was Atlantis. That was the biggest aha moment for me, because I was already interested in the typical Atlantis narrative that is sold. And I say that a lot too, that even if you think you're being a rebel trying to find Plato's Atlantis, you're literally following the aristocracy's little fucking hidden history gotcha moment. Like, it's a psyop. It's literally like controlling the opposition. You know, they teach Atlantis in school. They teach it as a fable that's probably not true, but they teach it nonetheless in academia. So you shouldn't fucking believe it. It was probably a time period called All the Land is Ice.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's continue on with this article because it is really cool, and we naturally got sidetracked. It was a wonderful sidetrack though.
Absolutely.
But I'm loving seeing all these high definition original photographs from the temple
photos.
too,
And you get an idea of what it's really like there,
and how big it is, and how it curves exactly as Eeyore described before they even got there.
Mm-hmm. What's the next thing? I think it's a golden door or a golden staircase.
A golden door.
Behind
They have to
the
get to the golden door first. That's the next thing. Which
Bruh,
would
I want
be
to see a
very
golden
interesting.
door in my lifetime, please.
You've
And
heard
I'm
about
impatient.
here we are getting sidetracked again, but you have heard about the carving that was found inside the temple walls, right?
Mm-mm.
It was a checkerboard carved into the wall, which immediately made me think of, like, of course, I'm not connecting this directly to Eeyore or the box or anything. It just Freemasonry uses, and Rosicrucianism uses, the checkerboard black and white squares as very important symbolism. And so when you think about where those histories go back to and what they're connected to, it's eventually it all goes back to the secrecy surrounding the church and the heathens and everything that was going on back then during the wars that were happening. So the Crusades, the Templars, all of it's connected in some way. So it's just
you think
interesting to
the
know.
checker, the checker,
Pattern.
was it like 4 squares? Yeah, the pattern in the wall there.
I don't know
You
if it
think
was
from that
I think it was
time?
more. I think it was more than 4 squares. I think that whenever that was carved, it must have been way long time ago before the
Okay.
temple was closed that it was carved.
Mhm.
That's what they suspect. There's no photograph of it. I would love to see a photograph of the checkerboard carved into the Lemminkainen temple wall, just to confirm that it's there, because it's not that out of place in my opinion. Because if we're talking about the original holders of information, then naturally somewhere down the line, someone who had knowledge of the Acer were involved with the secret societies. And I don't know, we were talking just about the old school assisted suicide, basically. And that is a controversial thing that's being, from a conspiracy theorist angle, it's being pushed into society by all these Satanists and Luciferians. But it's like, well, what's really going on? Who's really coming back? Is it Terence McKenna's archaic revival where the heathen world is going to be coming back? And we got Etta Stupa, which it wasn't just from Bach Saga where they jumped off old people went off the cliff. That followed into Viking myth as well. They even that was like an opening gag on some silly Viking show on Netflix or a movie or something, where the old guy he's like, no, I think I got a few more years left in me. It's like,
yeah, dude.
No, it's your time. No, he's going now. So it's carried on through and taken on, it's been adapted by the newer mythology.
Awesome. Hey, fellas, Andy, dude, thanks for having me on. I gotta go.
Word.
But dude, Dustin, great to meet you. I'm gonna listen to this episode to hear you guys talk about the rest of the stuff. So,
well, Shane, as always, it's awesome to have you here with us. And yeah, everybody go check out I Knew Some, But I Didn't Know It All. And obviously you can also see him on Horns Up, that is back officially now. We're back. We're gonna be getting badder and gooder and better and all the good stuff. So
damn straight.
We love you, Shane.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
All right, Dustin. So I can't only go for so much longer, unfortunately, as well over here on the East Coast, but I do want to get through this article with you. And so next part, observations in the soil. They found clay, sand, gravel, and stones. And the soil after excavation in the cave can find both large and small stone fragments after blasting, as well as gravel, sand, clay, mud, and water. The object was found while pumping the cave out of water. During the summer, water has been used to clean the outer rock, as a result of which there has been a larger flow of water inside the cave than usual. So now I think this is alluding to what Michelle has mentioned before, how they try their best to take care of that area as often as possible and try to keep the outside of it like groomed and nice, because it was forgotten for so long. Over the years, soil has flowed from outside the cave into the cave, especially from under the big rock in front, but not as deep as this discovery site. The cave contains soil from previous excavations. So findings at the discovery site. You can see how big this place is, man. It's unreal. So it was found on top of a layer of mud. Yeah, me too. On a stone slightly raised from its surrounding with a sandy substance on top. Water had been pumped to a depth of about 1 meter when the object came to light. Okay. So it was pumped down to 4 feet and then it was found.
So this is in the area that they usually try to take care of, or it's farther down?
No, I'm sorry. So the outside there, when they mentioned during the summer, water has been used to clean the outer rock. I was just mentioning that I think I've heard Michelle talk about that, how they keep the outside groomed. And I think they're saying that caused more water than usual to be in the cave at the time. But for years, water does flow in and out of there just because of the geography.
I think they said once they get to the door, it's like a flush, or there's like a chamber before that you can all the water can be flushed out.
That's
basically
pretty wild. That would make sense with
so
its
it would never fill
location
again.
too. It's right near the coast and everything, so they would have to do something like that.
Yeah. Did you see any of the pictures I posted about the Lascaux caves in France?
Oh yeah, dude, I love the Lascaux cave stories, and the fact that it has astrotheology and astrology and everything right there. Yeah, not astrotheology, but as astrology just carved right in there. It's pretty wild.
Those caves also have water chambers and air vents and everything.
Almost like ancient irrigation systems and So basically, from what this article is saying, is that it was found in a location that the water never reaches, which is cool.
Location that the water never reaches,
or at least never
in
gets...
the rock. Is that a picture right there?
This is a picture right here of like the direct area where it was found.
Maybe, and you said it was found inside a rock.
No, it's found on top of a rock.
Top of a rock.
Right. But so the thing is, like, yeah, on the surface of things, that sounds useless. Like, okay, someone put it there. But they did, and, all these guys were involved with, like, dating it and everything. And, there's more to that story, but just for the skeptics out there, there's much more to it here. That's like an up close of it. Is that the end? I think they've written more. But yeah, it's big too. It's like 18, 19 inches long. It's possibly made of old wood material inside the eye of the
wood.
axe.
Yeah, so
old
it's not
wood
metal
on the inside. Well, yeah, there is metal and iron, but on the inside they're finding wood material inside the eye of the axe. Yeah, that is really...
So that would just make it an axe. It's like it used to have a piece of wood there.
Right, yeah.
That looks like a modern axe. Just like the shape of it.
So
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it like that's what it looks like, an axe.
So they did turn it in, and like they got feedback from quote unquote experts.
Experts.
Experts. At first glance, based on the pictures, it was difficult to date the object. If the axe has lugs, it could be dated to the end of the Iron Age. If it has stem pipe, the timing would probably go to the Middle Ages. We were asked to provide the item for closer inspection. At the museum agency, the handler stated that the axe blade was an ancient relic. This was indicated by the sparing use of iron, which could mean that it was made at a time when iron was less available. The handler estimated the age to the 12th century, but there was need for further research to determine the age. Since hobby archaeology and metal detectors are popular these days, there's a long queue for such objects. The estimated processing time was 3 years. So they're still processing that. It's still in the queue. We'll be waiting until 25.
I mean, it seems that's I don't know about all that one because like iron, I go metal detecting on the beach all the time, and I find shit like that that looks just like that.
Yeah.
Because iron will corrode and like start corroding in a week.
Interesting. Well, it says the expert respected the Bach family saga as an important part of Finnish cultural heritage. From an institutional point of view, it seemed like a positive observation that something was found in connection with the excavation. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's talk if like
just on top of a rock.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. But like, so here's
my question. Derail it, the whole thing.
No, and I'm not trying to derail it, but I think that's the whole point. We have to ask. It's not even skepticism, really. It's just clarification, because I have like an almost faith or confidence that we could bring any of these questions to Michelle or Ananto or someone that knows better than we do.
Yeah,
and they could answer these questions.
Well, a lot of the questions that they don't answer is refer to the temple opening, so it's there's a lot of stuff still to be uncovered. I just want to get to that freaking temple and know for sure.
Right. And that's why we're all kind of urgently awaiting more information about the new ownership and
like, don't open the door.
No, don't just tell us it's there. Just show us the door.
Yeah.
Let our love open the door.
Just cover it up. And be like, guys, we're not digging anymore, and it's all good. Okay.
I wanna go over there and put a shovel in the damn ground.
I know, me too. I just want to do some manual labor for the cause.
Jim was originally an outsider and became a very good friend. And we're outsiders. Maybe he can be the first one to stick the shovel in. Maybe we can be the last one someday.
Yeah.
Doubtful.
Yeah, I think that the people in that area really need to do it themselves.
Yeah, well,
it's been preserved in that language, and it's like even
it's
hearing that I was like really surprised. They say that it's like up to 250,000 people speak this root version of Swedish.
Yes, and I've spoken to one of them.
Some of them have YouTube channels. I don't know if they know what they're speaking or not, but
so they do. Some of them at least do. A big contingency of them do, which is that's what blew my mind. Because originally, when Yoke told me that there was thousands of people in southern Finland still speaking root, I assumed that he meant that they were speaking it without knowing what it was. And they having their own academic history to it or something, a hijacked version of whatever. But no, this guy contacted me like 6 months ago, a year ago, something like that. I have no concept of time, but
because it doesn't exist.
I don't want to say his name because I can't remember what it was, and I think it was one thing, but I don't want to be wrong, so I'm just gonna not say your name, man. But he's slowly making, and him and his friends are slowly making a Bach Saga documentary that's gonna take them years, they said, because they're just trying to get as many people involved as possible. But he's one of these people that speaks root from southern Finland, and his whole family speaks root, and all of his neighbors speak root, and like it's all this thing, and it's like, what? Okay, so that just changes everything. That's not one eccentric Finnish tour guide anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always thinking from the skeptic point of view, just for the sake of people that don't even bother looking at this or don't want to believe it or whatever. It's like, well, look at that. Like, what do you do? What do you do with that?
I wonder if just having like that in your head makes it so the other issues in the work going on, the total chaos that's going on, it doesn't really affect you as much, or if it affects them differently or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, when you think about it, when you understand root, you have a new understanding of every word that's being said. And for those that are like conspiracy minded, you'd have to start looking once again at what we all as conspiracy theorists think we've decoded based on Babylon and Sumer and Egypt. Oh, they're putting all this in the movies because of X, Y, and Z. But X, Y, and Z lead back to all these handed esoteric histories.
Yep. Back to poles and holes, baby.
Back to poles and holes.
Right to hell we go.
Dustin, we got to wrap this up because it's getting late on my end, but it's been a pleasure to finally meet you face to face and shoot the shit about this.
Happy to do it again sometime.
Yeah, we definitely should, man. Is there anything else you'd like to say or cover before we sign off for the night?
Oh, I would love to shill some box saga some more and just, check out the videos. If you haven't really dove into some of the other videos, the older ones from the
do that. And that's it.
Yeah, like the early 90s ones and stuff like that. That's the thing. I think I said it in the Telegram that at some point it would be great to have all of those old VHS tapes like upgraded or remastered somehow. But I don't know how necessarily to do it, but maybe we could do that someday.
Oh, also Michelle did did say they were working on turning the box saga book into an audio book with expansion on many of the key ideas. And that was from a video years ago. And I asked him in the chat a week ago or so, and he confirmed that they're still working on it.
That's so good. That's awesome. I mean, if they need, I've been looking for, I've been looking for like an outlet to help support financially in that way, like make some t-shirts and try to get some funding headed their way. But I was gearing it towards the dig, but I have no idea what's going on with the digs. I don't even know if it's on right now or if they need money for it. You know what I mean? So this sounds like something else that's, funding might be needed to help with something like that. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, I think that goes really great. Yeah, it goes back to. Oh no, you're good. I'm good. I'm sorry. It goes back to, are we ready for the temple anyway? Before something like this body of work done in an audiobook. Because that's how I learned the box saga. I didn't watch any videos. I like if I was a video on YouTube, I would just I just throw a headphone on and I listen to it, and that's how I kind of absorbed the whole box saga. And even reading, it just makes me sleepy. I don't know, like I don't like to really read. I'll even tell my phone to like read it, websites out loud and things like that. But
yeah, that's the good thing about this is that for a lot of people that don't like reading or just whatever, this is all in video form. Well, not all, but there's plenty. That's like the primary way to do it is hearing the sounds. We're talking about an oral story. And it was, pretty big news when Carl Borgen wrote it down, put the black ink on the white paper, it's a delicate thing to bring forth and translate. Right. So the audio book format would be extremely revealing and extremely helpful, but before the temple's opened, after, I don't know. That's speculation for now, but
I mean, the temple will always be there, but these guys, with all the knowledge of the saga, right? It would be a shame for them to not finish what they're working on. And like half of them already, passed. And it's, I want to make sure these guys are healthy and taken care of and can focus on this.
Yeah, man.
So I think that would be a good I don't know how
noble cause
other than I don't know how to support other than to know as much of it as I can for myself.
Well, I'm sure I'll be talking to you off air about that at length with Jock as well, with Yoke, because we are thinking about that. quite a bit,
Let's do it.
and how what we could do. I think he's spoken to you a little bit about some plans he has, maybe, but we'll talk some more about it for sure, because we are going to collaborate more. I think this is something that we can get a lot of good information out there by doing this. So
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
really good to meet you, man.
Yeah, you too.
And I'll see you in the Telegram, of course.
All right. Peace.
Dustin, thank you for coming on. Everybody, thanks for checking out this episode. And yeah, please go check out the store and check out the deepshare.com, because now it is up and running and official and stuff. And the store is there. You can go there and check out the merch. So please check it out, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, that's hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature. And you will atone.
What do we know? What do we know? If I know what we know, then I can tell you what we know, and if someone else knows, okay?